Hey Austria, we need to talk. And with that, I welcome you to True TK Tales, where we dive into the darkest corners of human history. Today, I'm gonna tell you a story about Austria so horrifying that it's hard to believe it's even true. This is the first video of a series that I call TrueGlobalABC, and with that, this is the first video of my channel. In this series, I will take one country at a time in alphabetical order, and I will tell a true crime story about it for you to hear. If you are interested in true crime in general, just subscribe to the channel to not miss a video, and ring the bell to get notified. Have you ever heard the expression, the devil you know? It is an unsettling idea that someone who's close to us, someone we trust, can keep the darkest of secrets. That is what actually makes the story of Josef Fritzl so terrifying. But Fritzl was not some weird-looking creature in the darkness. Fritzl was an ordinary man. He was a father and even grandfather. He lived a quiet and ordinary life in a town called Amstetten in Austria. Underneath the facade he built up, Josef was a master manipulator. He was actually that monster that hides behind the mask. He was ready to do the unspeakable. Imagine a normal day in Austria, Amstetten. The sun is shining, the birds are chirping, the neighbors doing their chit-chat over their fences, and in the Fritzl household, things appear normal as well. Josef, the hardworking engineer of the family, goes off to work. Rosemary, his wife, took care of the household while the kids were playing or doing their stuff. But literally, beneath the surface of this normal family, a whole dark secret boils. In the basement of their casual home, Josef had built something horrifying. He constructed a hidden world, a soundproof, windowless cellar, designed to be a prison. And his prisoner is nobody else but his own daughter, Elizabeth. It all began 1984 when Elizabeth was just 18, a young woman on the edge of adulthood, full of dreams. One day, Josef asked her to help him with a trivia task, something she would do every day. It seemed like a simple request, an everyday task, but it was a carefully orchestrated trap. Once Elizabeth was in the basement, Josef would overpower her, drugged her, and restrained her to his needs. And in the state she was, he locked her away in a hidden cellar he built underneath his house. A place that she would call home for the next 24 agonizing years. Can you imagine the sheer terror Elizabeth must have felt? One moment she's with her family. Everything is quiet. The next, she's trapped in a cold, dark, and isolated space with no way to escape, and nobody would hear her cries for help. Josef, the master of deception in this tale, prepared a story to explain the disappearance of his daughter. He told everyone, including his wife, that Elizabeth had run away, that she joined a cult. He even forced Elizabeth to write letters to her own mother, further solidifying his fabricated tale. He was so convincing that no one has suspected the horrifying truth. Now try to imagine this. Elizabeth, trapped in the cellar, year after year. No sunlight, no fresh air, no human connection. The only person she would see is the monster that locked her away. She had to endure the abuse by the hands of her own father, a violation that defies comprehension. And in that horrifying environment, Elizabeth had to give birth to 7 children, first in 1985. Josef's corruption didn't end here. He brought 3 of the children upstairs to live with him. And just imagine the wife, he had to tell her stories that she would not suspect anything. He was claiming they were abandoned babies that Elizabeth had mysteriously left on the doorstep. The first of these children appeared in 1993, with 2 more following in 1994 and 1996. He even went so far to create an elaborate backstory for each of those childs. Meanwhile, Elizabeth and the other children remained trapped in that cellar. They lived in a small, dirty place. No real food, no real sanitation, and no access to education or healthcare. Their lives were constant struggles for survival, a testament of the resilience of the human spirit in the face of the most horrific adversity. Now, imagine you're in this situation. There is nothing you can do. Some of you would not even have any hope. Some of you might even do the unspeakable. But even in the darkest of places, hope can endure. In April 2008, one of the children, Kerstin, who was just 19 at the time, catched in heavy illness. Elizabeth, desperate to save her own daughter, pleaded with Josef to take Kerstin to the hospital. He agreed against his own will, but the doctors were immediately suspicious. So Kerstin had no medical records or whatsoever. Her condition was critical, and the man claiming to be her grandfather seeming evasive and suspicious. The doctors, sensing something was terribly wrong, they alerted the police right away about what was going on. The investigation that started to follow slowly peeled back the layers of Josef's deception, and it led them to the hidden cellar and the horrifying truth it contained. When Elizabeth was finally allowed to visit Kerstin in the hospital, she saw her chance to break free. With incredible courage, she told the doctors and the police everything. All of what happened, exposing Josef's horrible crimes to the world. The news were sent all across the globe. People were horrified that such a cruel act could happen in their midst, that a seemingly ordinary man could be capable of such a horrifying act. Josef was arrested and put on a trial, where the full extent of his crimes was laid bare. He was found guilty and sentenced to life in prison in March 2009, where he remains to this day. Elizabeth and her children were given new identities, and they received a lot of therapy to help them to heal from this trauma. They have been trying to rebuild their lives away from the public eye, a long and difficult journey after years of unimaginable suffering. I hope that the story of Josef Fritzl could show you that the darkness can lay under every surface. Please be vigilant whom you trust and who you surround yourself with. The world can be a beautiful and rosy place, but it can also get a very dark place. Take care wherever you are. Anyway, if you still feel in the mood of watching some true crimes about Austria, then I would highly recommend you to check out my TikTok or my Instagram channel. On those, I already uploaded a video about another crime from Austria. With that, I am out.